From today, all airline passengers traveling from China must test negative for COVID-19 before entering the United States. The new rule has been introduced by the Biden administration as concern grows over widespread transmission of the virus in the world's most populous country. Our US correspondent Kate Fisher is at the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington in Virginia. Kate, welcome to you. So it's been reported that the first planes have entered. How's it all working? What are the new requirements?
Well, yeah, that's right. From today, every single traveller coming from China, if they're 2 years and above, or travelling from Hong Kong or Macau, even if the US is not their first destination, if they're travelling through a secondary country, if they're landing here, even for a connection, they need to have a negative COVID test that's been done within 2 days of their departure, and they need to show that to the airline as they leave the airport in China. Most flights from China enter the US into Los Angeles or New York and then take a regional flight to other parts of the US, like here in Washington, D.C., or just outside of Washington, D.C. in Virginia. This is the airport serving the city of Washington. So travellers now this extra layer of bureaucracy if they want to come to the US, but the Biden administration saying it is necessary to do so because of the rapid rise in case numbers of the coronavirus in China. And they say particularly because they don't believe that China is being transparent with their data. They don't believe that China is telling the international community enough about what is happening there, about variants that may be circulating, and even correct case numbers and numbers of deaths. And that's why the Biden administration says it needs to take these measures, because it simply doesn't have the information otherwise.
And of course, there is a new Omicron variant. Kate, South Africa has taken a different route. We are not barring entry in any way. And an expert earlier, a doctor said, well, these travel bans or the tests and things don't seem to actually control transmission that much anyway. What do health experts say in the US, and how does the public feel in general?
Well, very similar. Many health experts here are also arguing that point, saying that actually restricting travel and getting a test within the 2 days before you leave doesn't actually do very much to stop cases rising here on the ground. It could be lulling people into a false sense of security that they are protecting themselves more from these variants. As you say, the Omicron subvariant XBB 1.5 is actually spreading much more rapidly than any variants connected with Chinese strains. Here in the US, particularly in the northeast of the country, really rapid case increases there. It doesn't appear to be leading to hospitalization or severe illness, but certainly many more people are becoming infected. And some health experts are arguing that the the Biden administration should be concentrating on trying to minimize that surge rather than looking to restrict people coming in from China. They say more attention needs to be given to that rather than these travel restrictions.
And we know that US-China ties are strained somewhat. Could this policy prove to be a setback in terms of attempts to improve that relationship?
Yes, some analysts certainly think that although the Biden administration says that it has introduced this because of a lack of transparency from China in a bid to try to make China give the international community more information about what is happening within China, there are concerns that by doing this, it's actually going to make things worse and close down communications, because the Chinese are very angry about it, and therefore it could backfire and cause the opposite of what the US government is wanting. But they are saying very definitely that this is not a racist issue, this is not a racial ban. They say it is not like the travel ban that was introduced when Donald Trump was president. It is simply a restriction on all passengers coming from China, whether they're Chinese or not, because there has been some concern within immigrant communities here as to whether there would be a backlash similar to the one that there was when Donald Trump made disparaging comments about the Chinese. There are concerns about that. The Biden administration saying this is nothing to do with race. It's simply about being prudent and a reaction to China's lack of transparency when it comes to telling the rest of the world what exactly is going on with the outbreak in China.
All right, thank you very much for that update. That was Kate Fisher live from an airport in Virginia in the United States.